Hi, I'm still in the Bearing book, Acts chapter 13, verses 1 to 12 being discussed in their book, their commentary. And there was one more point that's important that we look at. In paragraph 8 of the Bearing book, this is what they say. Paul was not intimidated by Bar-Jesus. Likewise, we should not cower when opposers try to subvert the faith of those who show interest in the kingdom message. Of course, we should let our expressions be always with graciousness seasoned with salt. At the same time, we would not want to jeopardize the spiritual welfare of an interested person just to avoid conflict. Nor should we fearfully hold back from exposing false religion, which continues distorting the right ways of Jehovah, as Bar-Jesus did. Like Paul, may we boldly declare the truth and appeal to honest-hearted ones. And even though God's support may not be as obvious as it was in the case of Paul, we can be sure that Jehovah will use his Holy Spirit to draw deserving ones to the truth. Okay, so the thing that I wanted to point out was the phrase about not holding back from exposing false religion. In this account, Acts 13, we're talking about them exposing a single man named Bar-Jesus. And this is the description of him in the text. So Acts 13 verse 6, he is described as, it says, they met up with a Jewish man named Bar-Jesus, who was a sorcerer and a false prophet. So I thought that was interesting. He's talking to an individual who's a false prophet, and he boldly exposes that. So just, I want you to think about the way we thought as Jehovah's Witnesses. Our reasoning was that we were trained to judge people, and a lot of times our judgments were based on their ties. So here they're trying to make that connection and call it false religion. So the general principle that governed the way we judged people was by association, guilt by association. So according to that logic, some Roman Catholics have been guilty of crusades, inquisitions, and persecution. Therefore, as witnesses, we say all Catholics must abandon their religion and join God's pure organization or congregation, the Jehovah's Witnesses. Similarly, because the churches of Christendom, some were involved in the 2 world wars, if you wish to avoid guilt for blood spilled therein, you must cease association with such institutions and affiliate yourself with the only religion God approves, jw.org. All religious people are guilty for the abuses perpetrated by their religious institutions and must perish in the Great Tribulation or at Armageddon, along with the institutions. By this logic, though, of course, Jehovah's Witnesses are tied to an organization that was built by 2 false prophets, C.T. Russell and J.F. Rutherford. All Jehovah's Witnesses are then implicated in false prophecy. Should Jehovah's Witnesses, therefore, suffer the biblical punishment for false prophets? Public execution? False prophecy was a capital crime in the Old Testament, just as surely as murder, adultery, and idolatry were. And by the logic of this paragraph in the Bearing book, David and I should not be intimidated or hold back from exposing false prophecies. Now, I say all this, and we have been accused of hatred of Jehovah's Witnesses. But really, the reason that we feel we should expose false prophecies is because we have an interest in the welfare of Jehovah's Witnesses. We love Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's why we will continue to expose what is false. I'm going to link to 2 videos that discuss the false prophecy of Russell and of Rutherford. The first one is, what 7 predictions did Russell make for 1914? That's not all his false prophecies, but just of that one. How many of the 7 things he prophesied came true? Unrepentant after Finnish mystery date-setting debacle, Rutherford bangs drum on 1925 and Beth Sarum.